Today is a fun day for me. I've had this package here, which some of you probably recognize from the tape on it. I've had it for almost a week, and all I did was slit it open. I have not looked through it. I've been itching to do it, but I've been keeping myself plenty busy with 30 Inks 30 Days, so I'm excited to jump in and share what I had arrived recently. So this is a shipment from Birmingham Pen Company. They are a small family-run business out of Pennsylvania. It's two brothers, I believe, who get help from their mom from time to time, and they're actually not that far away, so I kind of consider it as supporting local, which is a positive thing in my mind. I'm so excited because my wife made our last order, so she has the fun fountain pen nib paper clip and all the goodies, and now I do too. Get some really nice postcards. Are super heavy. I'll probably end up sending these out to some pen pals. And there's always a nice little note. And I have to say that their service is great. Now, the shipping can take a while. Like, I've been hearing some people talk about it taking like 3 weeks. So we live on a cul-de-sac, and they were last week redoing a bunch of the concrete work, a bunch of the curbs and such, and then they were supposed to, the end of last week, move into some resurfacing our asphalt. So we were going to be shut down completely to mail and delivery service, and like we have to take our trash to a much further away location for collection. However, I was a little concerned that when I placed the order that it would ship during that time that we cannot receive deliveries. So I wrote them and told them that this was going on and asked if they could hold my package and not ship it until after the 21st of September. And instead, they wrote me and turned around and shipped it the same day to make sure it arrived before our road was closed. Now, as luck would have it, the resurfacing work got delayed, so we've been open all week and it's not been a problem, but you know, it's nice to be certain and to know that, you know, your package isn't going to get returned undeliverable or something. Now, they do ship USPS, so I think we would have been fine. I believe our HOA is coordinating with the Postal Service, and that, I think the big questions are what happens if a FedEx or a UPS or an Amazon is scheduled to come in during that time. That I don't know. So the other thing I like is that their packaging is all like recyclable, and actually some of this brown paper and stuff I will tear up and use in collage and art journal and stuff like that. I got 1, 2, and 3. Oh, geez, I forgot my light. That's why I have a big shadow. Sorry about that. I took a break for lunch and took an even longer walk with the dog because it was so nice out. It's like in the 70s today with a nice little breeze. So it was just like, it was too awesome. And my body was cooperating, so that was cool. There's number 4, number 5, and number 6, and another nice little card. And these are on like such really nice paper. Like, I mean, their prices are are good. Their prices are great. If you've seen Ginger Peachy's spreadsheet of price per milliliter of, it's only slightly higher than Noodler's, I believe. But, you know, they've got to be spending a pretty penny on these like super heavy postcards and this stuff. I'm a little disappointed I didn't get one of the cork bottle coasters like my wife did, but I'll survive. It's okay. We don't have to have everything the same. So the one thing about Birmingham is if you keep your inks in your boxes to like protect from light or whatnot, there's nothing to tell you what's inside each box. So you need to like put some labels or write on the boxes or something, which I mean isn't a big deal. That said, so that I'm actually more likely to utilize all of our inks, I have put our inks out on display on some acrylic risers. They're in a spot that just, it doesn't really get much in the way of natural light, and even artificial light isn't turned on for, you know, super extended periods of time, so it's just fine. So these are, the smaller ones are 5 inks. And then I also got this bigger bottle, and this is their dilution solution, which actually happened to be on sale, which was really cool for me. Because some of the inks we got last time are a bit darker than I was expecting. In particular, our arugula and our heron. They both write a little more towards a like black green and a black teal once they're in fountain pens. So I'd like to try diluting them a little bit. So, you know, maybe watch the shorts, or maybe I'll do a video in the future of me playing with those two with this dilution solution. Then I kind of went with a theme here. We have all kind of dusty colors. I am a fan of kind of vintagey colors. So we have terracotta here. And like the super bright, highly saturated colors that don't have a lot of nuance to them are not really my thing. Plus, if you've watched any of my other videos, you may know already that I, at least this year, have been working with the common planner, but also Sterling Inks sticker sets. So I have Armadillo and Chrysan Themum. So the super bright inks also don't coordinate with those sticker sets, but they have like a certain common color scheme that goes throughout the year, with just kind of a difference in what the accent colors are, because they're all kind of botanical. They all have like a real dark green. And so then we also have Pennsylvania Fieldstone and Antique Sepia. So I'm super excited. I don't know about you. I'm gonna set these bottles back upright, pull out my ink journal, and we're gonna get to some swatching. And the first of the 5 inks that we're gonna look at is Armadillo. And this is kind of a cool gray that leans very much towards the lavender purple side of things. I find, for me at least, on this lightweight Tomoe river that's off-white in the weeks, and even in my ink journal, which you'll get to see at the end, it reads pretty lavender, a dusty lavender to me, but I'm not really getting gray from my bottle, but I am 100% okay with that. I went into it knowing that it wasn't necessarily going to read super gray because I did watch other swatchings of this ink on YouTube before I hit the go button, and I do recommend that when ordering their inks. Get a viewpoint of the colors from multiple sources. But I like this one. I'm excited to put it in a pen. And the second ink we're looking at from this ink haul is Chrysanthemum, or as I like to think of it, Chrysan Themum. To me, that's the line break makes it a pun, but that's probably just in my own head due to my addiction to British murder mystery television. We watch both BritBox and Acorn in this household, so it's probably in my own mind, but it makes me smile, so I'll continue to think of it that way. This one is a chromo shader. It is also kind of in the pink direction. It goes down with shades of kind of brown and green, but it ends up drying to a floral kind of pink color, but it is warmer than the Armadillo. It reads more towards the pink than the lavender. The next ink we're looking at is Antique Sepia. And as you watch the color kind of eke out from under my tin, and just looking at it now, you might think that this is a green ink. And what does green and sepia have in common? But this is actually probably the strongest chromo shader of the bunch. And it does kind of dry down to sort of a green khaki, a kind of green leaning tan color. You do also see hints of pink in it, which makes it really an interesting ink to look at. And I can't wait to see how much the chroma shading shows up in different pens. So you'll be seeing this again soon. And the fourth ink on the docket is Pennsylvania Fieldstone. I just loved watching people swatch this one. It is another relatively fascinating chromo shader. You'll see here that it looks like another green color. But on the outer edges, you can kind of see what it's going to dry down to, and that is a warmer sort of neutral, a less green khaki, despite the green showing up in the wet swatch here. And I am just in awe of these chromo shaders. I wonder what it is that makes them do that. Have you worked with chromo shaders? And if you have, what's your favorite brand and color? I'd love to hear because I'd like to explore this more in the future. It just really fascinates me and seems like a fun thing to explore. And the fifth and final ink of this ink haul is Terracotta. And this is definitely the warmest of the five, probably the least muddy of the five as well, and is not actually really a chromo shader so much. It is more of a shader, and it's a lot pinker than I was expecting, especially with the name Terracotta. And I think I've mentioned it before, I'm not the biggest fan of pinks, but this is a very different pink than what I have in my collection so far. And it definitely is not like the Pepto Bismol pink. So I'm actually, glad to have it in my collection. And I may end up tweaking with it because I'm pretty sure before too terribly long, I'll be adding some of their mixing colors to our collection as well. So stay tuned to perhaps see me shift the color of this ink in the future. And here I am with the dried swatches and also my ink journals. So you can see side by side the lighter weight off-white or cream Tomoe River that is in the Weeks versus the white, heavier Tomoe River that is in my Taroko Design blank notebook for my ink journal. And so you see that it's a little darker over here on the heavier paper. That could be that I laid down more ink. It's hard to say because I did not do these like simultaneously. And the type of dropper I use, just these disposable, but I reuse them droppers. It isn't like the drops are super, super consistent with it. So you can see it doesn't have a ton of water resistance. It does have some haloing in the broader, heavier lines with my Hikoro dip pen. Overall, a lovely, almost neutral purple. It's not as gray as I had expected, but I love the color. It's still totally my color. And then the next swatch that we did was the Chrysan Themum. Again, a little darker here. The haloing really shows up on these heavier inks. You can see it comes to really dark, maybe black or dark purple there. Lovely color. Then the second, or the third, was the Antique Sepia. Here you can see those side by side again. And this one is probably the most interesting, the most chromo shading of the lot. You can see pink and green and the tan that it dries down to, especially in that broad. This would be indicative of like a stub nib writing sample probably, but it all depends on how wet your feed and your nib are as well. Then the fourth swatch was Pennsylvania Fieldstone. Another one that came out with more saturated color than I expected. I thought it to have a little more tan, but again, it's totally in my wheelhouse as far as colors go. Gorgeous, gorgeous haloing, and it even comes through on some of the finer writing. So in the right pen, even with my preference for fine and extra fine, I may very well see that haloing. So that's exciting. And then the last one here, let's see, is the Terracotta. A nice warm pink. It too, like all of these, shades really beautifully. We get some haloing. And again, I'm excited to get it in a pen. So stay tuned. I'm hoping to get at least a few of these in my pens for October. So be on the lookout for my choosing inks for October video. I will be doing that again this month. And that should be coming up soon. I'm pretty sure I've had the stickers for 2 weeks now. So I look forward to sharing the process of picking my inks for next month. And I'm definitely going to be looking to use these. I'd love to hear what your experience is with Birmingham Penco inks. And do you have any of these colors, and how do my swatches compare to your swatches? I would be curious to hear. And what are your favorite pens to put them in if you have any of them? I'd love to hear that as well. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to spend time with pen friends here. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until I see you again, be safe and be well. Aho. And so it is. Bye.